beautiful soul. So today I have a little bit of a masterclass for you about Daphne Joy and feminine energy, and I am so excited for this. Um, so normally when I talk about feminine energy, I always talk about it as it relates to fitness or it relates to your nervous system. I almost never, with the exception of the video before this, talk about feminine energy as it relates to using it with men, which I know probably like 99.9999995% of coaches only talk about feminine energy as it relates to men. Um, I think there's something new, fun, and different that I can bring to the conversation. And first, I want to start with what feminine energy is. And feminine energy is your essence. So if you see your body as a piece of lingerie, and we have the softest, silkiest, most luxurious lace in the world, right? And you're walking to a Victoria's Secret store and you see all these different collections of lingerie designs, all these beautiful lingerie like patterns. And then if you kind of think about Victoria's Secret store and how there's a perfume section, well, within the perfume section, right, which for women, if we talk now about the anatomy of the body, within your velvet area, that's your perfume point of your body. And so there's different women or different kind of perfumes or essences of their body. But even as I say that, if you really went to the center of your perfume, you would find Victoria's Secret Bombshell within every single woman's body, right? And so really it's about knowing our energy design as women. And within your energy design as women, for let's say, for example, if you are a perfume, like a bombshell perfume, but you're in a dream angel body, right? You're not ultimate design, but like there's something very different about like your lingerie collection as a woman, right? And as often we're not taught the anatomy, we're not really taught about the energy within us and our bodies. And so I do a lot of that kind of for that and from that viewpoint. But when I saw Daphne Joy in her recent interviews, I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful example of how to use your feminine energy with men. And I was kind of had an eye out to see if other women would pick up on this. And unfortunately, what I'm kind of seeing is I'm seeing a lot of wounds kind of coming out. I'm seeing a lot of shaming being kind of thrown at her, and I think, and I do want to apologize because I know I don't have my microphone today. My microphone has gone on vacation. And also I'm gonna have to, I have like 30 points here. And so we're gonna have to divide this up because I'm only allowed 15 minutes at a time on YouTube. If you listen to this, the podcast, Underneath Your Lingerie podcast, and you can listen to this as a full masterclass in its entirety without being broken up. So this will have to be separated into different points. But what was I saying about Daphne Joy? I was talking about how women are responding to her versus men. And so men are like, oh my gosh, they are like, wow, like they're like, take notes. They're like, lazy notes. They're like, holy cow, like I can see, they're like, wow, she's dangerous. They're like, she would melt me, right? A lot of women are responding to like, oh my goodness, she's such a hussy, da da da. Like they're very, very negatively kind of tearing her down. And meanwhile, I think Daphne Joy is just being herself. And just like I mentioned in the video with Jelly Roll and Bunny, and we will reach to these points in a minute. It's really important to consider the culture of where someone's coming from. Um, and I think especially today, that's for some reason we don't do that. We measure people by our own internal things, our own things, that whether by it's society, whether it's trauma, whether it's how we grew up, we have our set our standards and we set everyone against them without even being like, what's this person's culture, right? Like if you go to a different country, like if you go to an Asian country, there's a culture there to be aware of. Like, right? And so I don't think a lot of times we really consider this. So Daphne Joy is a woman who grew up in the Philippines, and she was there. Well, I say grew up, I think she was there until she was about 5 or 6, and then her and her family moved to the US. And when she in the Philippines, she grew up very, very well, I know you still grow because you're not grown by 6, but um very, what was the word that she used? It was very I forget the word that she used, but anyway, she said there was only one television station that she could watch, was just Baywatch. And so she was so enraptured when she saw Pamela Anderson, which I completely get that. I was homeschooled. I was not allowed to watch secular things. However, somehow I did manage to watch a Baywatch, and I too remember Pamela Anderson running down the beach. And it's like, how many of us have always just wanted to, tuck into that, like being that inner Pamela Anderson? And Daphne said she's always been like super headstrong, independent, kind of like doing her own thing. And I think if she said independent, she means like having her own vision for kind of like her life and what she wanted and stuff. And so she's spent time with, I guess this whole first 15-minute video will be about introduction to who she is. So she spent time with, and she did one of the mermaids in Pirates of the Caribbean. She's did I think something with Curb Your Enthusiasm, I think, television show. And then she would, I think, was like a brand ambassador for Pretty Little Liars. So like she would do acting parts, modeling parts, brand deals, stuff like that. And I think kind of be aware when you're in Hollywood, you're never looked at as enough. And a lot of times you are kind of like picked apart. A lot of times you don't feel beautiful. It sounds like she is drop dead gorgeous. And several interviews have said men probably feel really secure around you and stuff. And unfortunately, it sounds like most of her relationships, she has been the guy just cheated on her and has not treated her right at all. And there's one part which I don't want to say this wrong, so I don't think I'm gonna touch on that part. But so and then she was with Diddy, and Diddy has this fantasy and asked her if she would be willing to participate in this thing where essentially he's a cuck and they have a different friend, though he was the worst cuck ever. So I'm a webcam model, and yeah, most of my cooks are quiet. I'll just say that. But anyway, this is not about the tape. So then was, oh yeah, and she had no idea it was going to be filmed. She had no idea whatsoever it was going to be filmed. Well, she ended up being filmed, and the first time she heard it was filmed, she passed out. literally passed out. She got her lawyers involved. Her lawyers, she thought like everything was scared and stuff because the person essentially tried to blackmail her and say, hey, I have this tape, right? Um, and then the tape, they and then they did give it to a media company. The media company, when she told them the true story of the tape, which you never hear of this, the media company actually did not release it, which is really, really rare. And then it got out anyway. And I have a feeling the reason why it got out, and I'm just gonna say it, no one else is saying this, I'm gonna say it. I had a feeling that the reason why it got out was because 50 Cent, so let me back up. Daphne Joy, she was with Diddy, and I've heard reports that she did get payment for that. She should get a payment for that. That other dude was 15 inches, so if that's something you're not normally doing, I can't imagine how many massages and stuff you need. Um, and I mean, for Diddy, for in order to have that situation, which I will say this too, this is why you have to look at the culture of stuff. A lot of rich men have fantasies that they like to do, that they like to explore. I remember in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle Richards was joking about everyone giving, about people giving a, we'll say, woman sucking a cucumber for engagement rings. This is a thing. This is the lifestyle. And I'm not saying it for everyone, but it's for a lot. I remember I did this stint where it was just like this 2 or 3 day thing. I worked for this guy, um, and I was just, I don't know if I should. So I was selling. I think it's okay to share. So I was just selling a type of. I was selling something that it was just a total normal everyday thing to talk about and to sell. He had a lot more money than I did, so I just don't want to. I don't want to like say too much. And so anyway, I went to this conference. This is just like this average everyday conference. He like flew me to this conference in Vegas, and my one of my girlfriends had already worked for him, so I knew that it was the legit. And I remember there was a girl that was helping me work the booth, and she was Mormon. And so all we had to do was just collect names and numbers of the guests, phone numbers, the guests that were there. But at this event, and it was something, it was not Aphrodite in the bedroom work related at all. This was something like if I told you what it was, which I'm not going to, but if I told you what it was, you'd be like, "What, really?" Like this is an industry you never think of. It's literally is the industry that you would never ever think about, and this industry has millionaires and billionaires in it, and I will never think of this industry the same. And so interacting with men at that level, I was lost because it is let me tell you, it is a different story, and some of them can be nice, some of them can be really, really, really dirty. And as a woman, especially who's traveled across the deep south alone several times, a lot of, I'm just gonna say a thing, and I'm sure a lot of rich men would agree with this, but a lot of rich men have never heard the word no. So that's a thing too. So you learn different survival skills. Remember the woman that was next to me, I like literally followed her in terms of like, how do you talk to like these, it's a lot when you're like a woman and you're this position, it's a lot. So I just want to share that in terms of the culture. And also I learned that at these business things, a lot of the guys there used it to cheat on their wives. So wives, beware of where your husband goes when he goes on a business trip. Just saying. But we're at a 50-minute mark, so I'll start up the next one. But just to wrap it up, so Daphne Joy, she was with Diddy, and then you can see a lot of people in the same circles, and she ended up dating 50 Cent and having his baby. And so 50 Cent produced this documentary on Diddy. And so to get back, I think at 50, they tried to humiliate Daphne Joy because they wanted to humiliate 50 and his son. So that's the thing.